What's up, fight fans? Welcome back to KO with Kyle. I'm your host, Kyle. Today we'll be forecasting all the main events in September and October in the UFC. There's either a fight night or a pay-per-view every Saturday for the next 9 weeks, so we're going to go over some of the fights on each card, as not all of the fights have been set as of yet. We'll be forecasting and recapping each event as they happen, but this episode covers the next 9 main events and all the fun fights to look forward to. Starting this Saturday, September 5th, 2020, we have a UFC Fight Night, Alistair Overeem versus Augusto Sakai. I've covered this fight in a previous video, but it should be a good one. We have the rescheduled fight at light heavyweight between Ovince, Preux, and Alonzo Menifield as the co-main event. And in the main event between Alistair Overeem and Augusto Sakai, we'll get to see just how good the 4-fight win streak Sakai is. The following Saturday, September 12th, we have a UFC Fight Night. The original scheduled main event was between Glover Teixeira and Thiago Santos at light heavyweight, but because Glover tested positive for coronavirus, their fight is being pushed back to October 3rd, Fight Night. So the co-main event will now headline the card. It'll be Michelle Waterson versus Angela Hill at strawweight. They are both coming off a loss and looking to get back into the win column. Other announced fights are Kyle Nelson at featherweight, who is 13-3, Bryan Barberena returning at welterweight, and Ed Herrmann versus Mike Rodriguez at light heavyweight. Mike Rodriguez is coming off of a round 1 KO just a few weeks ago, so this should be an exciting one. The next Saturday, September 19th, we have a UFC Fight Night between Colby Covington and Tyron Woodley. This is one many fight fans have been hoping for and praying that it wouldn't fall through. Tyron Woodley is the former multiple-time defending welterweight champion, but he's had a couple of tough outings versus Kamaru Usman and versus Gilbert Burns that had many questioning if Woodley still had it. Colby is coming off of a hard-fought loss to Kamaru Usman where it was fairly even throughout. Woodley has said this is his most important fight, and it'll definitely answer whether he can compete with the top welterweights anymore or not. We have other announced fights scheduled for that card. In what is likely the co-main event, we have Donald Cerrone versus Niko Price. Both fighters are not afraid to trade blows, so this should be a fun one. Also on the card, we have Mackenzie Dern returning, and Kevin Holland versus Darren the Dentist Stewart. Both fighters coming off of impressive recent wins. Will Darren Stewart be able to get past Kevin Holland's reach? We'll find out soon. The following Saturday, September 26th, we have UFC 253, Israel Adesanya versus Paulo Costa for the middleweight championship. Adesanya is an exciting kickboxer who went through Robert Whittaker to get the belt and successfully defended it against Yoel Romero. Paulo Costa is an undefeated middleweight who comes forward with a fury, besting Yoel Romero in a more impressive victory than Adesanya's. Will Costa have the gas tank to go the full 5 rounds? And will Adesanya be able to survive the early onslaught? I don't know. Co-headlining UFC 253 is Dominick Reyes versus Jan Blachowicz for the vacant light heavyweight belt. This should be a great matchup that will answer who is the best light heavyweight in Jon Jones' absence. Also on the card, we have Kai Kara France returning at flyweight, and we were supposed to get Claudia Gadelha versus Yan Xiaonan, but Gadelha is out due to a knee injury, and they're looking for a replacement to fight Yan Xiaonan. The Saturday following, October 3rd, we have a UFC Fight Night between Holly Holm and Irene Aldana. Holm is the former champion who has faced the top competitors, and Aldana is 4 for her last 5. Should determine the next top competitor at women's bantamweight. Also on the card is the rescheduled Glover Teixeira versus Thiago Santos at light heavyweight. That will determine the next top competitor in that division. Also announced on that card, the Iron Lady, Germaine de Randamie versus Juliana Pena. Charles Oliveira versus Beniel Dariush, and Carlos Condit versus Court McGee. So a ton of fun ones that night. I think October 3rd Fight Night is stacked and one of the best to look forward to in the next 9 weeks. On Saturday, October 10th, we have another fight night, Marlon Moraes versus Corey Sandhagen. Two of the top bantamweights facing off. Also, some exciting prospects have announced fights. Yusuf Zalal is facing Seung Woo Choi, and a verbally agreed bout is between Edson Barbosa and Super Sodiq Yusuf, who is on a 6-fight win streak. On October 17th, we have a UFC Fight Night that is the long-awaited matchup between Brian Ortega and the Korean Zombie. Ortega has been out for a long time waiting for this matchup, whereas the Korean Zombie had a dominant performance win versus Frankie Edgar. We'll see if ring rust plays a factor for Brian Ortega in this one. There is a verbally agreed bout between Katlyn Chookagian and Jessica Andrade, which I'd like to see, and an announced bout between Renato Moicano and Magomed Mustafayev. On October 24th, we have UFC 254 Khabib Nurmagomedov versus Justin Gaethje for the undisputed lightweight championship. This main event is spectacular as we get to see how Khabib will handle Justin's stand-up and how Justin's takedown defense will fare against Khabib's wrestling. Khabib is undefeated going in, and he'll be attempting to cement his legacy as the lightweight GOAT. Will Justin shock the world with an upset win? I can't wait to find out. Also rumored on that card but not officially announced is Dustin Poirier versus Tony Ferguson. That would be two of the absolute best at lightweight going at it. Confirmed on that card is Robert Whittaker versus Jared Cannonier at middleweight. Whittaker is making another title run, but he has a tough test ahead of him here with Cannonier. We also have Islam Makhachev versus Rafael Dos Anjos, which is a big step up in competition for Makhachev. Announced but not confirmed for 254 is Zabit versus Yair Rodriguez, a postponed matchup that we're still waiting to see. Lastly, Saturday, October 31st, we have a UFC Fight Night, Anderson the Spider Silva versus Uriah Hall. This may be Silva's last fight, and I honestly think he could go out with a decision win. Another exciting one on this card is Bryce Mitchell versus Andre Touchy Fili. Fili is always paired up in good fights, and Bryce Mitchell is a jiu-jitsu master. We'll be looking for a submission win from Mitchell in this fight. That about wraps it up for this episode. Enjoy the fights every Saturday for the next 9 weeks. September and October will determine the next light heavyweight champ, and we will see the middleweight and lightweight belts also defended. Many top competitors are paired together, so we will find out who gets the next title shot. If you haven't subscribed yet, please subscribe to get all our forecast and recap episodes. Comment below what upcoming fights you'd like to see us break down in detail. Until next time, fight fans, peace.